This time on Digital Futures, we're honing in on an entertaining part of our digital lives, gaming. I'm a gamer myself, so it really frustrates me when folks still perceive this as something for the geeks, or even one for the boys, both of which are inaccurate stereotypes, trust me. Now, if you want to crunch numbers, take stock of this. As we speak, more than 1.5 billion people are actively gaming one way or another, across consoles, mobile, PC or Mac and virtual. By the end of this year itself, the global games business is set to be worth close to a staggering $91 billion. And given your smartphone is smashing consoles and PCs as the gaming device of choice, is it any surprise that mobile gaming will take 60% of this market share? I want to explore the gaming arena, and the two folks that are going to help me do just that are Tony Pearce, CEO and founder of Gamesgrabr, which is now the world's largest collaborative games community, and Joe Twist, who runs Trade Body UK Interactive Entertainment. Guys, thank you for being here. So let's start by flipping forward. I want to talk about virtual reality. When this finally gains critical mass and becomes more accessible for the everyday consumer, paint a picture for us of why non-gamers should get really revved up about what should be a very immersive experience. Joe?
Well, I mean, virtual reality has a huge future all over the world. It's set to be worth over 100 billion by 2017 as a business. And augmented reality too, we shouldn't forget. But it's got so many applications in films, for example. The film industry globally is getting really passionate about this. And for medical use, for therapeutic use, for meditative use, there are really so many applications, it's endless.
I'm so excited about virtual reality. I think it's just going to be enormous. I've just come back from a game show actually. I've never seen so many people walking around with headsets and I think I can't wait to play a game that has virtual reality and feel like you're immersed in it and actually picking up a rock and running around, and you know, it's the next level, it's the next step up.
Yeah, and then you've got things like the Virtuix Omni Treadmill. I wrote about it a couple of years ago, which really makes it very physical. I mean, you can run, walk, jump, crouch in a battlefield, so I'm very excited. Now, when it comes to the nature of the games that we're seeing really soaring, we're thinking less Call of Duty now and more Words with Friends or Clash of Clans. Tony, are the, and I use this phrase with a lot of caution, die-hard gamers still dismissive of social games?
Why call someone a die-hard gamer? Why call someone a hardcore gamer? You either like games or you don't. As an example, I was on the train this morning coming to this interview, and I saw 4 people playing a game on their phone. Now, if they play that every day on the way to work, are they hardcore gamers, or are they casual gamers, or are they normal gamers? No, they're just gamers.
I totally agree. I can't stand this assumption that you often hear about mobile, people who play mobile games in particular, who are casual gamers. And that's a casual game, it's so patronising. And there are so many different games, and we're just at the beginning of how we push the boundaries with tablet games and fantastically complex or immersive games.
Joe, let's talk about eSports. So professional video gaming is now projected to have a global audience of 335 million by 2017. So clearly this is quite lucrative. Where is this going?
It's extremely lucrative, and it's been around for a long time, and professional esports athletes earn over $1 million, and prize funds are up to $10 million. And you know, it's been in countries like Korea and US and in some parts of Europe for a long time. And really what's happened is Twitch, the live streaming platform, which was bought by Amazon last year, has really pushed it into the public consciousness, because anyone can now sort of watch these live streams. This is going to be spectator sport and spectator gaming on a massive scale.
Tony, so aspiring game developers will definitely want me to pick your brain on this. So I have to ask, how can you turn your big grand game idea into a credible prospect for funding and actually raise some cash in this industry?
Well, firstly, the gaming idea, I think, has to be original. I think there's lots of copycats out there, and if you're trying to raise money, you really do need to come up with something quite unique, which is the hardest thing to do in gaming. I think raising cash now, if you've got a good team behind you, if you've proved that you've successfully done it in the past, is getting easier for startups. I think there's lots of options from angel funding to crowdfunding. So I think there are ways of getting early stage funding now, which has made it a lot easier. And then launch the game slowly, get some feedback from the crowd, and then go to VCs or go to a publisher and get extra funding.
Some really good tips there, thank you. Guys, I want to round this off by talking about gaming ecosystems. I mean, you travel a fair bit. You've already spoken about various locations being hotspots. But which, let's say 2 or 3 locations would you identify as the most supportive and thriving ecosystems for gaming startups?
Well, I think at the moment, Finland's pretty hot, especially in mobile gaming. I mean, you've got Rovio, who launched Angry Birds. You've got Supercell that just launched Clash of Clans, 2 of the world's biggest games. And for a small little country, that's hugely impressive. But I'm still a big fan of the UK. I still think we have incredible talent here. And I think now we're bringing in more education at schools. There's easier ways of becoming a programmer. So I'm all for the Brits.
Okay, flying the flag there. Joe?
Well, I mean, we look to European examples as well. I mean, in the US and Canada, they've got a very established ecosystem, but in Europe, we're doing things slightly different. And I especially look to Dutch Game Garden, for instance, a co-working space. It's also an accelerator, it gives training and help and support. But we've got that best ecosystem. Part of our job is to make sure that the ecosystem from cradle to grave in the UK is the best it can be.
Do you know what, actually, I'm not going to let you go so easily. I'm going to put you a little bit on the spot here and say, what's it going to take to get more women into games development, actually helping drive the market?
Well, we run the Video Game Ambassadors scheme. It's very important. There's 2 things. One, that we make sure that computer programming at school is taught creatively and it's taught with techniques that get different people, because it's not just a gender diversity issue, it's a diversity issue full stop, and that people know what jobs are available, where the career pathways lie for those kinds of skill sets. Secondly, we need the role models, and we need people going into schools every single day, every week, to show them different faces, to show them different roles that they can have. And we need women to be standing up, you know, and getting into those senior positions. This is a fantastically supportive industry. It's very inclusive. There is no excuse.
Yes, because a lot of the events that I go to, you've still got really a very small amount of speakers on stage that are women, and that needs to change. Guys, thank you for getting in my hot seat today. It's been really enjoyable. And thank you for watching.